Yetta, I think all the real estate investment properties are overpriced.
Maybe.
Moving forward with the Dekker Team. Moving forward together with the Dekker Team.
We are thrilled that we've been able to, for over 30 years, come alongside you, not only selling, buying, and investing in real estate over 3,117 times, coming alongside you to build your fund, build your faith, build your finances, build your fitness, and even strengthen, heal, and flourish inside relationship. And what we're going to discover this time is why currently many real estate investment properties are in fact overpriced, and what do we need to do to alleviate that challenge?
Well, first of all, what are you going to do? You can find properties that aren't overpriced, or you can negotiate on properties that are overpriced.
You're giving the answer away like that fast?
Just that simple.
That simple.
Okay, we can stop now. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
So let's figure out, why are the expectations of sellers of investment properties a little bit out to lunch right now for most of them? And the reason being is many of them bought them years ago. They have a small mortgage on them. They might have that small mortgage at a low interest rate, and they're not taking into consideration that the next buyer has to get a big mortgage because the price of the property is a lot bigger, and that bigger mortgage is now at a higher interest rate. You know, on a triplex or fourplex, maybe around 6%. So now that property doesn't cash flow at the current list price. So you're seeing some investment properties sit around because, remember that cap rate? They're trying to get
the capitalization rate?
Yeah, they're trying to get too small of a cap rate based on where the interest rate is. So that number has to go up. When the cap rate goes up, it's a multiplier of the income, or a divider, or whatever way you want to look at it, which affects the price, brings down the price. And one of the big issues is, as you do that, the price drops significantly with investment properties. So a lot of sellers just aren't willing to make that level of adjustment. But many are. So we got to find those.
Right. So one cool thing right now is there is a property that we think we'd be remiss in not sharing with you. Now, maybe it'll be selling in the very moment, and by the time you hear this episode or this segment, it'll already be gone. And in Greeley, there's right now in this moment, if it's not this one, we can find a different one. But this one looks like great value.
Yeah.
Right? A triplex in Greeley. So you're getting income from 3 different homes within the one property. Yep. There's excess land. So you've got some options as to what you can do with it down the road.
And at current interest rates with 20% down, this thing is cash flowing right around $500 a month. That's pretty cool.
Which is pretty incredible. That doesn't happen very often. Especially within the city of Ottawa.
Now, one of the reasons it is because the cap rate is a little higher because it's a century home. It's like 1800s or whatever. Is that a century home now? I don't know. It's almost 2 centuries homes.
Well, not quite.
But it's about 1800s, right? Late 1800s, that property was built. So it's a little quirky, a little bit this or that, but it's nicely renovated inside. It's fully tenanted with long-term tenants, and it's ready to go for like under $700,000.
Right, which is incredible. So if you're thinking, hey, I wanted to talk about specific properties, not just general conversation, this is one of those few times where we're giving you the specific details, hoping it's still there by the time you pick up the phone. When you pick up the phone, because you're part of the community, whether it's about this property or it's about the question that you have around real estate investing. We've been exploring cap rates and understanding them. We've been exploring the issues associated with real estate and why so many people are afraid of it and skeptical about it. And yet the wealthy tend to own real estate.
So
call us, right?
Yeah.
Like, isn't that the thing?
Yeah, call us 613-860-4663. And we'll walk you through this process and you decide whether investing in real estate's right for you or not. And we're cool either way.
Right. And whether it's the right time now or whether it's a time to strategize to do it down the road. Because sometimes we want to do it and it's not the right time.
I would rather buy now when there's fewer people. For instance, we recently got a property, a great property, great value.
Can we not say phenomenal?
Yeah, phenomenal. They're going to do very, very, very well out of this property. And it sat for a few days. And the beauty was we were able to snag it because people are going, oh, the market's slower. I don't have to move quick. So we moved quick and we beat a bunch of people to it. Now we had weeks and weeks to do our due diligence, to get our financing in place. And they kept saying, well, somebody else is interested. Yeah, well, they're interested, but they weren't at the table right at the beginning. And so we got a phenomenal property for our client.
And our clients are thrilled, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is another scenario where it's multiple clients working together to buy one property. So I think that's the other piece that sometimes we get stuck, and I know we did in our early days, we got stuck on the thought that we had to be able to do it on our own. Now, of course, you want to make sure you have aligned values and you want to make sure you understand the motivation. You want to understand why the other person wants to build wealth through real estate and make sure that there is alignment with you. So we're not saying haphazardly to go get any partners. We've seen that not work out so good too.
Yep.
And yet if you do your due diligence, not only with the property, but with the partner, there are things that you can do in combination that you can't do singly.
On your own. Yeah, and it's aligned values. And it's also aligned goals, because if one has a goal of let's increase the value and then sell it and take the money, and the other has the idea of, well, no, let's refinance it, take that money and go buy another one. Or third option is one says, no, we're just going to keep it long term and pay it down, and then we're going to own it outright, and it's just going to cash flow for my retirement. Well, those are three totally different goals with owning the same property. And so we got to make sure that partners' goals align.
Yeah.
Right? And their ethics and their desire. And even things like, how well are we going to keep it maintained? If a unit comes open, what are we going to do? Are we going to renovate it and rent it for more? Are we going to not invest any more money? We're going to keep it at the same and try and rent it for a little more, but not renovate. Like all those things, you got to be aligned at the beginning. Now, things can change and financial situations can change or whatever, but you can work those out if you start aligned. It's so much easier.
Right. So why else are real estate properties investment often overpriced, and what are we to do about it?
Well, it's expectations of the seller, really. And so there's several ways to combat that. One is to offer lower prices. Another is to go find a property that is at the right price to start with, which is what we did on that last one we were just talking about. And another way is to seek the seller. If the seller wants the money, great, we'll give you a higher price, but that higher price justifies a lower interest rate. And the only way I can get a lower interest rate is if you loan me the money to buy it.
Right.
So sometimes the seller will go, okay, I'll take a higher price and I will delay getting my money, and I'll loan you a chunk of it at a lower interest rate because I'm okay. I got my price. I got some income coming in at a lower interest rate, and the seller's happy. The other advantage to the seller is when you sell a property, there's capital gains. Capital gains is the money that went from what you paid for it to where you sold it for. Well, if you take back a mortgage, you didn't get all your money in that year, so you don't have to pay capital gains on all of it. So it gets intricate, but it's excellent. So if you've been thinking about it, take a small action step towards your investing goals. We're grateful that you joined us on Life's Inside Track, because when we move forward together, we've got this.
Moving forward with the Dekker Team. Moving forward together with the Dekker